Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. The priceless golden hoard. The Panagyurishte treasure is an ancient hoard of artifacts from the days of the Thracians, found in Bulgaria back in December 1949. A trio of brothers were digging clay to make bricks when they came across the unexpected hoard. They discovered an amphora container, animal sculptures, jewelry, and 7 artifacts called rhytons, all of them made from 24-karat gold. At first, the brothers thought they had found hidden brass instruments used by the gypsies. It wasn't until the curator of the local museum, Dr. Peter Gorbanov, arrived that they learned the treasure was from around the 4th century BC. That makes it nearly 2,500 years old. The artifacts are now believed to have been some kind of ceremonial set gifted to the legendary Thracian king, Seuthes III. The brothers handed the treasure over to the local authorities, who then put it in a vault at the Bulgarian National Bank. There are 3 copies exhibited around the world, but authorities locked the genuine treasure up tight in the vault. Unfortunately, we don't have the exact monetary value of the treasure. It's pretty much priceless. It's made up of almost 14 pounds of pure gold, and the fact that it was made by the Thracians and is so well preserved, the Bulgarian government is not going to let anyone get their paws on it to appraise the treasure. Number 9. Celtic coin hoard. The government of Jersey, a small island on the English Channel, recently purchased one of the largest coin hoards in the entire world. A set of coins from the Iron Age was just purchased for a sum of roughly $4,500,000, paid by the Council of Ministers using the Civil Asset Recovery Fund. This is money that the government has taken from criminals. The official name of the treasure collection is Leopard hoard, and a pair of amateur metal detector enthusiasts found it in 2012. Reg Mead and Richard Miles had been searching the area for 30 years looking for treasure. They began the quest decades ago when a local woman came to them with an ancient pot filled with silver Celtic coins. Her father had found it in a field near their home. She didn't know the exact location where her father had found the pot, but she pointed them in the right direction. It just took Reg and Richard 3 more decades to locate the rest of it. But their patience paid off. They dug up over 68,000 coins. These coins weren't sitting in treasure chests or locked in strong boxes. They were all melted together in a huge and solid chunk of ancient money. It took researchers 3 years to break the coins apart and separate them into individual pieces. French Celts probably buried the coins hiding out on the island around 30 BC, 2,000 years ago in the days of Julius Caesar. It's likely these Celts had fled the Roman invasion and took a massive fortune with them. When it was originally discovered, experts valued it at $10 million. Number 8. Bactrian gold. Experts say the lost Bactrian gold is worth billions of dollars. The Afghan government supposedly discovered it in February 2004, hidden inside the presidential palace. But since then, the treasure has gone missing, and nobody knows where it is. The president at the time of its original discovery, Hamid Karzai, said the treasure was hiding in sealed vaults beneath his official residence, and apparently nobody knew it was there. It's hard to believe the president of Afghanistan didn't know he was sitting on millions and millions of dollars worth of treasure from the days of Alexander the Great, but that was the official statement. Most of the treasure comes from 327 BC, when Alexander stormed through the region with his army, crippling the Persians. It supposedly comprises over 20,000 gold, silver, and ivory artifacts. These artifacts were made in all different parts of the ancient world, from Tajikistan to Iran. There were also Roman coins, coins with Buddhist imagery from the Far East, bronze Chinese mirrors, carved Indian ivory, and ancient Greek rings. Alexander collected the treasure left behind in the city and was kept safe by the rulers throughout the years. Then, in more modern times, the treasure was stashed in secret vaults by historians at the museum in Kabul, kept safe from the greedy hands of the country's presidents. Now, the Bactrian gold is gone, and we don't know where it went. The most recent reports say the Taliban, who have taken over Afghanistan, is currently searching for it, though it remains missing. Number 7. The gold double leopard. One of the most important and valuable coins in England is a rare Edward III gold double leopard. It's one of only 3 remaining coins from the rule of Edward III, and one of the earliest coins ever minted in England. Edward III ruled in the 14th century during the 100 Years' War that pitted England against France. In 1340, Edward declared himself both the King of England and the King of France, and the war continued for another 20 years before officially ending. This was at the height of medieval England. The country was rich, Edward held jousting and fighting tournaments, and he founded the Chivalric Order of the Greater in 1344, the same year this magical coin was printed. Membership in the order was limited to the king and his 24 most trusted knights. Many believe it was the original inspiration for the Round Table of King Arthur. 2 examples of this coin are in museums in England, while another is floating around somewhere. In its time, the huge gold coin was worth 6 shillings, with 1 shilling being worth 12 silver pennies. To give you an idea of how much that was worth, most ordinary English citizens only made a few pennies a week. At the time this coin was minted, no other gold coins had been made in the past 600 years. And almost immediately after, gold coinage stopped and didn't pick up again until much later. In 2022, a similar coin was found by a guy with a metal detector that sold at auction for nearly $200,000. Number 6. The Black Swan Project. The Black Swan Project led to the amazing discovery of the wreck of Nuestra Señora de las Mercedes, a ship filled with treasure that capsized during the brutal Battle of Cape Santa Maria in 1804. A company based in Florida called Odyssey Marine Exploration led the project. They came across a stash of coins at the bottom of the ocean weighing around 17 tons. This puts pretty much every other coin hoard to shame. This is because there are so many coins. The ship was part of a Spanish fleet that lost some ships off the coast of Portugal. It was carrying tons of silver, as well as cinnamon and quinoa on its way to Spain. The British Navy spotted it and sank it as soon as they could, although they probably regretted not being able to get the silver. The discovery of the treasure in 2007 led to a very long legal battle between the Florida company and the Spanish government. It cost the company about $2,600,000 to retrieve the treasure from the sea. A resolution finally came in February 2012. The courts awarded the treasure to the Spanish government, and as an extra kick in the mouth, Odyssey Marine Exploration had to pay the Spanish government $1 million for abusive litigation. This left them at a negative of nearly $4 million. I don't know if deep sea exploration is worth it for that price. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5. Sculpture of Tutankhamun. A sculpture of Tutankhamun's head, the great boy pharaoh of ancient Egypt, just sold for a whopping $6 million. His sculpture is 3,300 years old, but nobody knows exactly where it was found. We know that before the sale, the mysterious artifact had been kept in a secretive German art collection since the year 1985. And before that, it had been in the possession of a German aristocrat named Prince Wilhelm von Thurn. As for Tutankhamun, he was one of the most famous kings of Egypt. He ruled for 9 years and died just before his 20th birthday. He was only 10 when he took the throne, but was gone by the age of 19. The British archaeologist Howard Carter uncovered his tomb in 1922 near Luxor, complete with all its burial treasures. It was one of the greatest finds ever. What makes this sale even more interesting is that Egypt is furious. The artifact, which is carved from brown quartzite and shows the boy king wearing the glorious crown of the god Amun, is technically Egyptian property. It was taken from somewhere in Egypt and given to a rich German man decades ago, and Egypt wants it back. Instead, it was sold to an unnamed buyer for a ridiculous amount, and Egypt was told, in so many words, to just deal with it. Number 4. Stolen artifacts. A New York antiquities collector recently had to return a whopping 180 stolen artifacts. Together, these treasures are worth $70 million. According to the New York Times, billionaire Michael H. Steinhardt was forced to give up his antique collection. He is one of the most prolific collectors in the world and has been banned from purchasing any more artifacts for the rest of his life. This was agreed in a deal he made with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. His having to give up the treasures was part of an investigation that went on for 4 years, Investigators traced dozens of looted relics directly back to his apartment and office. Most of these treasures were smuggled out of various countries using criminal networks, black markets, and forged paperwork. The illegal antiquities market is very real, and a lot of billionaires seem to have their toes dipped in it. One of Michael's stolen artifacts was a magnificent piece called the Larnax. The Larnax was a mysterious chest used for holding human remains on the Greek island of Crete over 3,200 years ago. Michael also had a ceremonial vessel from 400 BC, a fresco stolen from a Roman villa at Herculaneum, and a golden bowl pillaged from the legendary site of Nimrud in Iraq. Number 3. The San Jose. The San Jose is the most valuable shipwreck ever discovered. It's not only worth millions, but billions. When the San Jose galleon sank in 1708 after leaving South America with its holds filled to the brim with stolen treasure, it was destroyed. It sank to the bottom of the Caribbean with gold, silver, and jewelry worth $20 billion in today's money. It also sank with 600 human lives aboard, but their bones have long since decayed. All that remains are a few shards of wood from the ship and all of its precious jewels. The San Jose was part of a Spanish fleet trying to make it across the ocean back to the motherland to deliver untold riches to the king. But the ship got into a battle with the British in the late afternoon off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia, and by the time the sun had set, the galleon was under the waves and destroyed. For centuries, this mysterious ship remained lost on the ocean floor. It wasn't until 2015 that the Colombian government announced they had finally found it. All these years later, the galleon is still sitting underneath 1,800 feet of water. It's also at the center of a custody dispute. Spain says that they own it, and Colombia says they own it, since it's in their waters. As of 2022, Colombia is the one moving forward with plans to salvage over 200 tons of the sunken treasure. Number 2. The Sroda treasure. The Sroda treasure is a hoard of fantastically valuable silver and gold coins, as well as heaps of precious stones and unbelievable gold jewelry. The treasure dates back to the 14th century, with its largest component being 3,000 pieces of silver. Crews discovered it during demolition at a building project in Poland in June 1985. The authorities quickly swooped in and bought the treasure for themselves, and no archaeological studies were carried out. Then, 3 years later, during yet another demolition in the same place, an even bigger piece of the hoard was found. Again, the authorities took it. But this time, they didn't get there quick enough, and much of the treasure was looted. In the days that followed, local residents started searching the landfills where rubble from other demolished buildings had been left, discovering overlooked pieces of jewelry that was centuries old. In the end, we don't know how many pieces of treasure were buried here in Poland because people got away with so much of it. Most of these stolen pieces probably got sold in the black market. The treasure, according to archaeologists, belonged to King Charles IV of the House of Luxembourg. Historical records show that in the year 1348, or close to it, he pawned an enormous collection of items to the Jewish banker Muszczo in the town of Sroda. Nobody ever reclaimed the treasure, and there have been legends about it in the region ever since. As it turns out, the banker must have buried the treasure, then either forgot where he put it or never had time to go back for it. In 2001, the lowest value of the treasure was estimated at $50 million, and that was pushed up to $100 million in 2005. Number 1. The Gilded Coffin. The Metropolitan Museum of Art purchased a gilded coffin from the 1st century BC back in July 2017. The New York Museum purchased the piece from a Paris art dealer for a shocking $4 million. It's an incredible coffin, covered completely in gold, made of wood and bronze. It originally held the mummy of a high-ranking priest of the ram god Herishef, who operated out of a major temple in Heracleopolis. It's arguably one of the most elaborate and valuable coffins ever taken out of Egypt. And even though we know where it comes from and who was buried inside of it, nobody knew until after the huge purchase that it had been looted previously in 1936. It was stored in the collection of a man named Habib Tawadros. Then later, the coffin was transferred to Switzerland, given a fake export license in the 1970s, and then stolen in 2011 before being sold to the museum in New York. But regardless of where it's been or who it belongs to, it's still one of the most valuable coffins ever discovered. Few museums these days will pay $4 million for an Egyptian relic, especially not one that belonged to a simple priest, someone that most people have never even heard of. Thanks for watching! How much is too much to pay for an ancient artifact? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember to subscribe and come back soon for more shocking archaeological videos. See you later! Bye!